What's up guys, Neonblitz here, back with another Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra video. We have the Season 6 patch notes officially live in game, so I'm going to be reacting to it for the very first time. I know these patch notes have been out for a bit, thanks to the creators in the Content Creator Program, but I like doing things officially once they're announced by Squadron themselves, so this is going to be my first time reacting to it. These patch notes should be live already in the game, if not when Season 6 comes out tomorrow, so let's see exactly what we got going on here. Balance adjustments and bug fixes made on July 7th at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so they should be live in game. These patch notes will apply following the version 1.6 update. Buff to Super Saiyan Goku, lowering his Kamehameha from 12 seconds to 11. I don't think Super Saiyan Goku needed buffs, but that's just funny that that's all he got. If they're willing to buff him, that's just funny. Piccolo, skill 1 light grenade. Damage distance fall off decreased from 90% to 70%. That is a pretty good buff. Basically what it's saying is, from the distance fall off of the damage, when you use the ability, I think especially close range, it would have a 90% fall off, and then as it went further and further range, it would get more damage. Now instead of basically doing nothing if at point blank, it now does 70% less damage, so it's going to be doing more damage close range. It should be doing the same amount of damage as it does long range, so nice buff to Piccolo. I don't know if it's enough for him. Piccolo's been kind of in a weird spot in the squadron where he has probably the best boss secure in the game, has crazy damage at long range, and one of the best escape abilities, but it's still just very rough for him, especially because he's a character that doesn't really like going too defensive. And other characters could just do what Piccolo does, like God Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but better. So that's probably why he's been in a rough spot. Especially if you get on top of Piccolo, like let's just say Super Saiyan 3 Goku instant transmissions on a Piccolo. Piccolo's basically forced to retreat immediately, or just Piccolo dies. So Krillin, rush attacks. Maximum range increased from 5 meters to 6.5 meters. Good buff. Skill 1 energy mine. Can no longer be destroyed by energy attacks. They actually gave that to Krillin. I know this is a heavily requested buff for Krillin, but I am shocked they gave it to him. Basically, if you want to wear with Krillin, when he put down his energy mines, if you use energy attacks, it would instantly destroy the energy mines, and basically made Krillin useless at the higher ranks because there's so much AoE energy damage, especially late game, that what is a Piccolo mine gonna, or not Piccolo mine, what is a Krillin energy mine gonna do late game? When like Kid Buu skill 3 would just destroy the energy mines from the long range Kamehamehas, the long range God Gokus, the long range Super Saiyan 3 Gokus, God Vegeta's Vortex Orb, all of this stuff was just destroying the energy mines, and it basically became a useless ability in team fights. But now that they made it so it doesn't be destroyed, that's actually really big. Time until the energy mine reacts to the enemy or secondary explosion increased 0.4 to 0.6. So it does take a tiny bit longer to fully activate. Like when someone on the enemy team steps on it, it does take a tiny bit longer to activate. But the fact that it can't be destroyed by energy attacks is amazing. Skill 2, Solar Flare. Shrink field of view effect increased from 40% to 60%. That's also pretty big, because I remember I've never felt too threatened when Krillin was Solar Flare. Obviously, I'm still Solar Flare, so I couldn't see anything, and that's still super powerful. But I was always like, okay, I can't see my teammates. That sucks, but I can still see good enough that I never felt like too much of a hassle getting hit by it. So buffing it, the amount of range it takes away from you is a good thing. But I cannot believe they gave Krillin the energy mine buffs. That's a buff that so many people were requesting, and they actually gave it to him. That's great. The Bora buffs. Passive, Demon's Domain. AoE increased 2.5 to 8.1 meters to 2.5 to 9.5 meters. So late game, Deborah's passive, which I think is your near Deborah, it activates the gauge. It now has more range. Good buff. Skill 1, Doom's Ray. Skill cooldown decreased from 11 seconds to 9 seconds. Okay, 2 seconds is pretty good. Base HP recovery increased from 1300, 1440, 1725 to 1560, 1730, 2075. So you're pretty much getting like close to 300 more healing across the board, which that's pretty good. I think it's like 275, 300, or 295, like 325 or something. That's pretty good. The skill now has 2 less seconds cooldown, so it comes back 2 seconds faster and heals more HP. That's pretty good. Is it enough for the board? I mean, he still has some more changes, so let me hold my judgment. Skill 2, Darkness Spear. Status effect applied to enemy change from no vanishing step to movement speed down. Affected duration 30 seconds for 30% for 2 seconds. Let me keep reading. Skill 3, Evil Flame. Status effect applied to enemy change. Movement speed down to... Oh, okay. There it is. No vanishing step. Okay. So, pretty much, Deborah's old Skill 2... You know, he would throw the spear at you, and that was what applied to no vanishing stuff. Now, it's on the skill 3, the kind of flame breath that he does. And now, the flame breath, that used to slow, now that's on the skill 2. So honestly, because before the board, if you miss your skill 2, you're like, well, I missed the kill. I should have used it earlier when it was more guaranteed. I missed it, and I'm now useless. But applying it to the skill 3 that has much bigger range and it's a damaging abilities that you're actually going to max. Because that's the main issue is if you max the board skill 2 on like a non-superstar, you're missing out on so much range and damage for more consistent no vanishing steps. But now it's on the skill 3, which you should be hitting a good amount of the time. And while they have the no vanishing step, then you can apply the movement speed down. And you're still going to be filling up the gauge quite like most of it with thanks to your skill 1 that now is 2 seconds faster. And it's 2 seconds for the no vanishing step. That's fine. And keep in mind, at Deborah, when they have the Darkness Spear, you're going to be running faster towards them as well. So you're lowering their movement speed and increasing your movement speed as well. So it's going to be pretty much the same. Like, they're still not going to be able to get away from you as long as you hit that ability. And then now you can apply Evil Flame to not just one person. You can potentially apply it to a whole team. That's very strong. Is this enough for Deborah to finally have some sort of meta relevancy? These are great buffs. They've been slowly giving Deborah more and more buffs. The issue is just he's still melee. And like strictly melee. Like, we have Beerus coming out soon, and I'll have my kit breakdown when like in the morning when I wake up. But Beerus has seemingly mobility to help him get into melee range. Deborah doesn't. Other characters like Trunks have mobility. I think that's always going to be the biggest issue with Deborah is that he's strictly melee and just a tank killer because that's probably the easiest to get get some use out of it of turning people to stone. But maybe now with these changes, it could be a lot easier to turn people to stone. I'd have to see how it plays out in game, see how strong Beerus is, how strong God Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Goku is. I hope they get nerfed in this patch. There's just a lot, but these are definitely nice buffs to the board. God of Destruction Topo. I guess they're buffing Topo for Beerus, because I believe they both have the same passive applying Mark of Destruction, so I think you can stack them together. So I guess they want you to run a Topo Beerus damage pair together. Passive. I won't be fighting for justice any longer. Market damage or Market Destruction damage decrease from 40, 60, 80 to 100 to 22, 33, 44, 55. Losing quite a lot of damage on the passive. Okay. When KO'd, Market Destruction will not remain until the effect timer expires, but the damage effect will end. This sounds like 100% just for Beerus. Because before when Topo would be knocked out or die, you would lose all the Market Destruction in the stacks. And it didn't really matter because Topo was the only one that had it. But now that Beerus has it, they're updating it to where it does less damage on its own. But it now stays around because Beerus can use the stacks. Okay, I'm glad they're actually updating Topo to seemingly work with Beerus. That's quite good. Skill 1, Destructive Flash. Market Destruction duration increased from 2.5 to 5 seconds. Damn, they're doubling the time the Market Destruction stays around. Yeah, they really want you to run them with Beerus, huh? Does this make up for the damage here? Because before, it's 100 for max, or 4 stacks, and 55 here. But it's now you're doubling the time the Market Destruction stacks stay around. So, yeah, I think you technically get more damage now. Since that Market Destruction stacks last longer. That's cool. Skill 2, Demolition Tornado. This is the main Topo move that he spins around. Market Destruction duration increased from 2.5 to 5 seconds. And I'm already spoiling myself. So Topo now, the Market Destruction stacks are just 5 seconds flat. Seemingly for now. Okay. Skill duration decreased from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. Damage interval decreased from 4.25 to 0.17. So I think now it does damage faster. Restore base HP to self-effect after inflicting damage added. Huh. I never thought that's how they would buff Beerus. Not Beerus, Topo. But making him so his skill 2 actually heals himself? That should allow him to stay around in fights and much more. Because you still have your skill 3 to counter. Which all they did was increase the how long the market destruction stack stay on. But you kind of use that as like a last resort to if you needed the extra health. Or just if they're using a big attack. But now you can counter. And you can still heal you up. And keep in mind, when Topo Rush attacks enemies with market destruction stacks, he lowers the cooldown of all of his abilities. So depending on, you could maybe get this ability much more often in team fights and healing yourself and just staying alive much longer. And even if they try to go for a big attack, you can be ready with your counter. Interesting. Okay, Squadra. Super attack, massive sphere of destruction. When enemies with market destructions are hit by the explosion, their market destruction stacks will no longer be consumed. That's a pretty big change to his ult, because I believe the way his ult worked before was you throw the orb down, it has its initial like calming down damage, and then it explodes and did more damage, and it would consume the market destruction stacks. But now it doesn't consume it, so it's going to still be doing the increased damage. And since you have the market destruction stacks, you're going to be not only helping Beerus out, you're also probably going to be refreshing your passive of keeping them around. Maybe not. Maybe it's just for his abilities. But now you can rush attack them, still get your cooldowns. So now you kind of like skill 2, maybe skill 1, skill 3 get in there. And then you can ult for damage. And you'll still have market destruction stacks on them for Beerus or yourself, and to rush attack to hopefully get your skill 2 to start healing up more, and maybe do the counter. I need to see how much this healing actually is, because if this is a lot of healing, Topo could be pretty good with Beerus, because Topo could be the more tanky frontliner, while Beerus could be more of the assassin cleaning up the kills, and Topo just kind of just sets Beerus up perfectly. Maybe that could be the combo. But I'm glad Topo's getting buffs, because my god, he needed it. That video that I did record of Topo after his last set of buffs was miserable. So I'm glad they're buffing Topo. Kid Gohan passive friendship boost. All defense up effect applied to self increase from 300 to 400. So he's getting more defense from his passive. And then the skill 3, this is kind of the AoE, like he jumps to enemies and puts on like this barrier shield. AoE increase from 359 to 4,610 meters. I don't know if this is enough for Kid Gohan. He was really great at the start, and even once they added to where the energy defense applied to bosses, or energy defense down applied to the bosses, or once people realized, he was like the best technical for a bit, and then they nerfed him hard, and then he got nerfed again after hammers. So I don't know if this is enough to bring him back, but I still think Kid Gohan's good. He just takes more effort or skills than some of the other technical characters. I'm not so sure if this is enough for him, but he can still be good, of course. And I think he still is good, just I don't know if it's enough. Nerfs. I better see God Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Goku here. I better. Also, no first form Frieza buffs, or... Because I know, obviously Krillin like needed the buffs desperately. But I think first people were wanting first form Frieza buffs. I'm assuming that character is just in a weird spot where they're too strong at lower elo, but too weak at stronger elos. Or not stronger, higher elos. So maybe that's what their concern is, but interesting. Alright, nerfs to Bojack. Skill 1 Galactic Buster. Indicators during windup showing the explosion radius added. Good, because there's a lot of times where Bojack's ability, like it's just a line, the 2 projectiles forward, and then you'll get hit by the explosion anyway. So like, that hit me? So I'm glad that I got damage decreased from 540, 600, 720 to 485, 540, 650. So he lost like almost like 80 damage flat out. These aren't the absolute worst nerfs, but it's still like, I wonder why they nerfed the Bojack. Because yeah, he did do a lot of damage, especially late game. But that's still weird because I don't think people are really complaining about Bojack. But maybe they have the stats and he had to wait to have a win rate, especially on healing attack. So maybe that's why, but interesting. Kid Buu. I'd argue, yes, Kid Buu needed even more nerfs because even after his 2 other sets of nerfs, I would still say he was the best technical in the game. So let's see what they nerfed him here. Skill 3, noisy chest drumming. This is the circle that he does that does the damage. Attack AoE decrease from 4 meters, 6 meters, 10 meters to 4 meters, 5.5 meters, 8.5 meters. So at rank 1, doesn't matter. It doesn't change. Rank 2, loses 0.5 meters. At rank 3, he loses 1.5 meters, which that's more big than I would think. But okay. Additional movement speed down effect from parts within AoE decrease from 20, 30, 40% to 10, 15, 20%. That's pretty harsh. The fact that now at max rank, the slow is the same level as it was before rank 1. I do think Kid Buu deserves this, do not get me wrong, but that's still really harsh. Duration of lingering movement speed down effect after leaving AoE decreased from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. So this move is still going to be doing the same amount of damage, but now it has a smaller radius, slows less, and slows for less. Okay. Super attack Earthbreaker. Cooldown increased from 70 seconds to 90 seconds. Yeah, that move being as low cooldown as it was, the damage it did, the boss secure, the continuous attack, the continuous AoE damage that it would do, all the debuffs it used to apply, the fact it gives Kid Buu invincibility in the max rank is pretty much impossible to catch a Kid Buu after he uses his ults. Yeah, increasing the cooldown by 20 seconds makes sense. Duration of movement speeds down effect applied when grabbed by clones decreased from 5 seconds to 1.5 seconds. Again, really big in the nerfs to his movement speed down, but no effect to his damage. Does this make Frieza? And I mean, I don't know if Frieza was nerfed or not. I can't imagine Frieza was nerfed, but does this make Frieza the best technical in the game now? I mean, Kid Buu's still going to be really annoying. The slows are a lot less, but he still applies some slow. He still has his hook. He still has the damage. His ult is still great even after they lowered the movement speed and the cooldowns. I'd have to try Kid Buu out and compare him to Frieza to see who's better. But I still think Kid Buu's in a good spot just because they didn't touch anything else about him. But, you know, these seem like decent nerfs to Kid Buu. I'll say it. Especially the last set of nerfs he got, which is this thing. They made his skill 1 and cooldown increase for like 2 seconds, which was like nothing. So I'm glad that actually nerfing Kid Buu's kind of significantly. God, Goku nerfs. Please let these nerfs be significant enough. I'm already not like... I see Super Saiyan 3 Goku, that's good, but I'm not liking the fact that these are like just one line apiece. Skill 3 Dragon Enhance. This is the buff that would make his abilities move like, or hit like a nuke. Additional damage decrease from 900, 1000, 1200 to 630, 700, 840. So he is losing like 270 damage rank 1, 300 damage rank 2, and then 360 damage rank 3, and the cooldown is increasing from 13 seconds to 16 seconds. I wonder what the initial cooldown was before his first set of buffs, because I do believe they lowered the cooldown as ability at first during season 4. I'd have to double check, but is this enough? Because this was truly the main issue with God Goku, was his skill 3, how much damage it would add to his skill 2 and skill 1. If you got hit with all 4 hits of Goku's skill 1 when it was empowered by skill 3, you would just instantly die. That was a true issue of God Goku, the amount of damage that did with the burst, and then of course obviously the continuous burning it did, and the way it empowered his skill 2 if you're trying to run away. His ult not getting changed is very interesting, just because that was like the best ult secure in the game now. I know we have Yakon that makes the energy bubbles so you can't snipe it, but it's still interesting that this is it for God Goku. I know they made it last season, they made it so skill 2 to get the full damage takes like 6 seconds now instead of 4. But I don't know if this is enough. I'd have to obviously play the game and find out. That's the thing. It's that I can read all these pack notes and they can seem good or bad, but I obviously the best way to find out is playing in the game itself. But I do wonder if this is enough for God Goku. But now let's go to Super Saiyan 3 Goku, where they only changed this instant transmission. Cooldown reduction after targeting enemy hero and activating skill decrease from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. So yeah, with Goku's or Super Saiyan 3 Goku's instant transmission, if he went to an enemy hero, it would shorten the cooldown to move. So now they made it 15 less seconds. Sorry. So now it comes back 15 or 5 seconds faster or slower. Time between skill activation and start to teleport increased from 0.23 to 0.32. kind of a useless change. I'm sure there's been plenty of times for myself where if a Super Saiyan 3 Goku was in the fight for like even a split second longer, they would have died and obviously lost all their snowball stacks. So this is obviously a good nerf, and they got rid of skill damage boost skill 1. So that's going to help out with Super Saiyan 3 Goku a lot, but I'm wondering if these 2 nerfs are enough. The fact that they didn't even really nerf Super Saiyan 3 Goku's damage at all, because he was still insane at the end of Season 4, but now they got rid of skill damage with skill 1. And again, with Yakon, the bubble hides allies and enemies, so he won't be able to instant transmission, which I think that's way bigger than a God Goku not being able to ult it. Both are still pretty big. I think Yakon nerfs both of these characters pretty hard. So maybe these are enough. I'd have to obviously play around Yakon, play around both these characters, go against them, see how I feel. But jury's on this one, but I'm glad they're getting nerfed. I'm glad God Goku's lost damage. Super Saiyan 3 Goku, since just the existence of Yakon's nerf from both of these characters, this is good. Super Vegito nerf. Spirit Sword. Damage decreased from 480, 540, 660 to 399, 440, and 530. So he lost like 130 damage max rank. I think Vegito's still going to be fine. Vegito's one of those characters where he's, quote, hard to play. But if you can master him, he's been absolutely one of the best damage characters ever since his launch. And losing this little bit of damage obviously sucks. But I don't think it's a slap on the wrist. Let's call it out. It's a slap on the wrist. I think he's still going to be really great. And I'm sure they're trying to find a good balance of Vegito because he absolutely dominates every Squadra Blast that he's in. But on ranked, you don't really see the same domination unless they are really good Vegito. So I'm sure they're kind of in this weird spot of where he might be too good in pro play, but not strong, but like at a kind of perfect level for just solo queue and ranked. So Bulma nerfs. Bulma has very quickly risen to becoming like a hated tank just because of her playstyle of just throwing down the Castle Shelter, getting 1 chip or 2 chips on the God of Destruction, and getting the hell out of there thanks to her fuel, and just repeating that cycle over and over. That it's a playstyle that players already hated, myself included, way before Bulma's release, and now that we have a tank that's kind of perfectly made for it, it really just makes people hate Bulma. So let's see what they did. Rate at which fuel replenishes per second outside of combat decreased from 12.5 to 8. So she gets 4.5 less fuel per second. That could be quite significant. And do I think it's enough? I'm not too sure, but that could be quite significant. Because Bulma, another issue with Bulma was just how fast she was and how fast she can rotate. It was quite ridiculous. So making her lose 4.5 less fuel every second when out of combat could be good. Skill 1 Capital Shelter cooldown increased from 6 to 10 seconds. And it's interesting that they say skill 1 here, because I swear with Bulma, the Capital Shelter is actually skill 3. So skill 3 has lower cooldown, or has a longer cooldown. I don't know why they say skill 1, but if you go back to Bulma, cooldown increased from 6 seconds to 10 seconds. The way her Bulma's cooldown for Capital Shelter works is, I believe, obviously, if you can call it back at any time to get a big burst of cooldown, also depending on how much health it has, but it still has a flat cooldown, so they're making it so her shelter takes longer to come back, which I think is good. I don't think this is enough for Bulma. I still think she's going to be really great, and I'm still getting she's like the second newest character coming out, so they probably don't want to nerf her too hard. But I am glad that they're at least nerfing her this quickly, because we've seen them with like Bardock and Kefla that they can sometimes take forever to nerf these characters. I mean, we just saw it last season with God Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So I'm glad they're at least nerfed, or trying to nerf her right away. I don't know if this is enough, but we'll see. Divine Combo Cards build up. All defense up gain increased from 15 to 22. Okay, so they're buffing that. Necessary number of NPC KOs or assists required for all defense up increased from 3 to 5. Wow, so you need to kill 5 NPCs for 1 stack of build up. Additional number of all defense up decreased from 15 to 10. So they brought it back down to 10 from 15, but now it takes 5 to kill. So you need to kill 50 NPCs in order to get all your stacks. So if you get all your stacks up, you get 220 stacks. While before, you got 225. So you're still losing out on 5 defense. And it's going to build up much slower because now you need to kill 5 enemies just for 1 stack. This is a nerf to tanks and also to any technical that was running Corrin that were just getting free stacks. I still think those technicals are still going to be fine just because Corrin just helps them out so much. And unless they got rid of that interaction, I still think technicals that go build up are going to be perfectly fine. Just because Corrin's that strong. Just you're not only going to... Just now you're no longer going to be getting like 12 stacks in like 5 minutes. It might take a tiny bit longer, but I think they're still fine at the end of the day. And you only lose out 5 defense once it's fully built up anyway, so just now just takes much longer. Defense step. Cooldown increase from 4 seconds to 12 seconds. Whoa, that's really big. Because defense step, once they nerfed limit breaking jump, defense step very quickly, and after they buffed it, became like the de facto 3rd combo card you get. And if you didn't go it on most of the time, it was a wrong choice. Of course, there's rare occasions that like something like Limit Break Jug would be better, but defense up was like the de facto card for most characters and builds, because you would just vanishing step, you would get all this cooldown reduction, wait 4 seconds, and boom, it's back up. But now it's 12 seconds. Okay, so now you have to really be careful when you use it, because you only really get this like maybe once, potentially twice every fight. Is this enough to take it out of meta though? I mean, the biggest issue is what do you go instead? I don't think you go like Wicked Warrior or the other. I don't think you go the 2 damage combo cards. I don't think you go Guardian Angel. I don't think you go Backstab. Maybe now it's just Limit Breaking Jump or Defense Step still. But interesting. I do like these nerfs. Adjustments to Broly. Passive Fetish Tenacity. Energy defense up to self-effect added. Whoa. That was another buff people have been really wanted. Was the main issue with Broly was he had the strike defense, but everyone in this game does energy defense for the most part. So he would just get absolutely destroyed when he would try to go in. There's like a God Goku, regular Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. There's these long-range characters that could just absolutely blow him up because he didn't have energy defense. So adding the energy defense to his passive should help him out a lot. But this is under adjustment, so I'm sure they're going to retool some aspects of his kit. Maximum damage scaling of rush attacks increased from 100% to 125. So when Broly fills up his despair gauge, he was supposed to he gets more damage on his rush attacks, so now he's going to get even more damage on his rush attacks, which is think is good. That part of his passive really didn't matter too much. It was good for his other abilities, so I'm glad they're adding rush attacks. And then skill 2 Gigantic Stomp. These are the 3 stomps that Broly does. Damage decrease from 405, 450, 540 to 360, 400, 480. So he's losing about 45, 50, 60 damage. And this is again per stomp, so it's more like 180 damage for if all 3 stomps land, or 360 if all 6 stomps land. I guess that's their compensation. Like, hey, you can actually live in fights to do your damage, but now it's going to be a bit less, which I think is fine. I think the fact that he gets his energy defense is huge for Broly, and I cannot wait to try him out, because Broly is a lot of fun. Just, you can never really play him because of the energy defense, so I'm excited to try him out. Adjustments to Super Snowball. All attack up increased, reduced from 40 to 25, but now you can get up to 8 stacks. Interesting. So if you do the math, 40 times 5, you would get 200 more damage if you're fully built up. Now if you get 25 times 8, you get 200. So you're not losing any attack from this, just now it's going to take much longer to get to the same level, because now you have to get 8 kills or assists instead of 5. So if you shut down someone with Snowball, that's going to be really big, because now it's going to take a lot longer to... That's like 2 or 3 fights to try to get back to all the Snowball stacks. I think a good change, nerfing Snowball, because Snowball's still been one of the best Divine draws. Nerfing build up and Divine defense steps, they're great calls. I like all these changes. Gekishin rules bosses. Bond timing adjusted from 180 seconds, 315 seconds, 420 seconds, to 510 seconds, to 180, 300 seconds, 390 to 480. So bosses are going to be spawning in faster. You still should be around level 5 with the first boss. Second boss, maybe you might be level 7 or level 6, depending. Maybe even level 8 if how far you're farming. And it's just going to make bosses spawn more. Games should be taking a little bit quicker now, which is a good thing. That's great. Enemy NPCs. Enemy NPC spawn conditions adjusted. It doesn't tell us exactly what, so I don't know what to go off of there. Voice crack. Gekishin Burst. Gekishin Burst can no longer be activated when there is no allied Zeno in the enemy God of Destruction's area. Damage of Gekishin Burst, including when canceling, adjusted. So I think the top part is saying, because there have been times where a Zeno would leave the God of Destruction, and for some reason the game would still let you finish out the Gekishin Burst that you're doing, or even just let you get the last hit of a God of Destruction. There's been a lot of times where that's happened, so I'm assuming this is to get rid of that. But adjusting the amount of damage Gekishin Bursts do, including when canceling, could be big. Because can you imagine, maybe that's why they didn't nerf Bulma as hard, because they are adjusting Gekishin Burst damage, where if it gets canceled, you're like losing a little health, and maybe the first one doesn't do a lot of damage, but the second one and third one onwards could do more damage. That could be like a smart way to nerf Bulma. Again, they don't tell us exactly how they changed it, so I'm not too sure what the changes are, but it sounds good on paper. Improvements. Gekishin rules. Route indicators. The first enemy NPC each team will encounter will now display on the route indicator for each lane at the start of battle. Okay. More quality of life stuff. I will always take quality of life. Status effects. The steel attack status effect has been adjusted. The amount of attack power granted by the effect will no longer update even if the target's attack power changes during the effect's duration. The effect will no longer end automatically if the target is KO'd while the effect is active. So this is mostly God Vegeta changes, just because he's, I think, the character that uses steel attack the most, if not the only character. I could be wrong. So they made it so it no longer changes or fluctuates. So this could be buff in some situations, nerf in some situations. And now, if you kill the target, the effect will no longer end. So that sounds like just a straight up buff, because now you'll still have the steel attack from them. So, good change. Friends, the player list and party features are now combined into a single screen. I don't think this is in the game yet. I think this is probably going to be coming with Season 6. But that's good that they're just making the UI a little bit better. The player list button has been removed in line with its party screen integration. Again, I think this is not in the game yet, but good quality life changes. I always take. Custom battle. Spectator view improved. KO announcements added. Player info adjusted. And KO/defeat/assist added to the UI. Spectators can now see HP values when mystery HP is active. Visitors control improvements. This is all just in preparation for the Squadra Blast World Championship Finals in Japan in late August. Again, more quality of life, more is always great and appreciated. Home. Role breaks would now only appear or display when ranked battles have been selected. Sure. I think I've seen when the content creators had access to Season 6, and now instead of displaying at the top here, it would now display here above the ranked battle button, which I'm not too sure if I like that too much. I think I kind of just like it up here, but sure. And then finally, visual collection. Player information screen added for viewing a chosen visual. I'm not too sure what that means. I will be 100% honest. But I'm sure I'll see when Season 6 comes out. But, I mean, these patch notes seem really good at giving some pretty big buffs to, like, Broly, the Topo, to the Bora, to Krillin, nerfing the combo cards of build up, defense step, and Snowball. Some of these nerfs sound good on paper, like Bulma, Super Saiyan 3, God Goku, Kid Buu nerfs. I think this is a good patch. Obviously, I need to see in practice if like the God Goku nerfs, Super Saiyan 3 Goku nerfs from Bulma nerfs are significant enough. But this seems like one of the better patch notes that we've had in a long time. So it seems like Squadra is trying to listen, even though we all wish they would maybe do it a bit faster. It still seems like they're still listening to what the players want and what they've seen from the data, which I think is a great thing. And I hope these patch notes seem as good in practice as they seem, because if these patch notes are good and this MILF in the meta is quite healthy and hopefully Beerus isn't entirely broken, this season could be much better than Season 5 alone. But obviously we need to see with Beerus release, how the meta develops and all that to fully get a grasp of this. But on paper, these seem like great patch notes. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, email out space. Stay tapped into the channel. We'll see everything Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra, including producing this coverage on Season 6. More videos on Beerus and the other 2 characters yet to be revealed, as well as any potential news you know for the game. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!